Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Necromanticer, and today I'd like to introduce a new series, The Resource Review. Over the years, Attack Wing has had a wide variety of resource cards printed, and each one comes with its own unique applications and niches. I'm going to be going through both the old and new resources to find clever and unique ways to use and exploit those resources for maximum effect alongside a healthy dose of hand-tailored gimmicks. Each episode will focus on a specific resource and a 90-point build designed around capitalizing on its uses while also explaining the concepts behind its application in an easily adaptable format. Where does it work best? Why does it work? How can you abuse it? And when should you run it in your fleet? These are the questions I'll be exploring, so bear with me as I introduce our first resource of the series, Skilled Helmsman. As a connoisseur of gimmicks, Skilled Helmsman not only jumps out as ripe for abuse, but also rather difficult to leverage, so I thought it best to start with a challenge. For 5 points, Skilled Helmsman allows you to pick one of your ships that will receive a unique full about template, which turns you in a semicircle rather than a straight up and back of a come about. The trick is that you may substitute the full about maneuver whenever you reveal a red maneuver on your dial. After you perform the maneuver, which is actually considered white, you can place an auxiliary power token beside your ship to mimic the red maneuver that you replace, adding an additional token if you do not have the come about maneuver on your dial. Already, this gives us a few things to work with. Skilled Helmsman allows us to replace our chosen maneuver so long as it's red, so we'll want a ship that has a variety of red maneuvers to choose from in order to use it more often and in more scenarios. Since it gives you extra aux power if you don't have a come about, we'll want to work with a ship that already has one natively as well. Finally, since it only works on a single ship, we'll want that one ship to be both tanky enough to soak hits and impactful enough to be worth the investment. Ideally, Skilled Helmsman will take a ship that has somewhat limited maneuverability and make it much more dynamic and adaptable to the circumstances. This is especially true if we take a high captain skill in order to view our opponent's moves before deciding to change the maneuver or not. Working with those restrictions, one ship jumps out as having red turns, a native come about, and big stats to throw around, and that is the Soong Type 03 class ship. As any bioship player will tell you, 6 primary weapons value is quite a lot to deal with, and with the speed of the Type 03 helping you boost your way into close combat, you can make good use of the maneuverability options that Skilled Helmsman provides. With a great base ship to work with, we need some upgrades and a captain to really make it shine, and fix the auxiliary problems we have. To do that, I'll first take the power grid upgrade from the Vulcans, allowing me to disable it instead of taking the aux power from our full about or base red maneuvers. That immediately boosts our maneuverability since we can take any of our maneuvers without aux and still get an action. But if we don't have extra action economy to re-enable Power Grid, we're not going to get a lot of use out of it, either sacrificing attack quality or allowing it to remain disabled, so we should bring along a captain with free action economy. Since we also want a high captain skill in order to survey our opponent's moves before our own, Starter Picard makes the perfect addition, also giving us access to battle stations on our big Borg beast. Finally, since we're only getting one free action, Boheeka is a solid addition, making sure the majority of our dice end up as hits. One of the biggest mistakes you could make in this game is throwing a lot of attack dice without any attack quality. Altogether, that's 13 points to go on our admittedly expensive Type 03, so we'll have to use the generic version in order to stay under the point cap, giving us a 54-point build so far and leaving room for a decent small ship to fly side by side with Picard. Specifically, we want to take a ship that makes an attractive target since we don't want our 54 points of investment in the Type 03 to go to waste, and the longer it flies around, the more value it gets from the maneuverability of Skilled Helmsman. As such, I'm going to be scrimping on defenses and building in a glass cannon style so that the opponent has to focus on the side ship or get torn apart. To do that, I'll be taking the I.K.S. Tong, which hits 5 attack dice against many common targets and can use Admiral Gowron for easy attack quality. By adding on Martok 8 and Skill Worf, we're not only satisfying Gowron's condition, but also giving our Type 03 extra action economy to throw in scans or evades as the situation calls for, and making the Tong an even more demanding target. Altogether, that brings us to 88 points, leaving enough space for something small like Kapla or a utility weapon like Aft Particle Beam. In the end, we're left with a pair of heavy-hitting ships, one bruiser with highly adaptable maneuverability, and a glass cannon that buffs the bruiser while serving as a distraction from our heavy point and gimmick investment. Skilled Helmsman is critical to the build since it takes the Type 03 from a worse scimitar due to the red turns to an agile and adaptable skirmisher capable of pulling off trick plays and baiting the opponent into bad engagements. If they ignore the Tong in favor of the Type 03, they'll struggle to kill it, while the Tong unleashes comparable damage, and if they do take out the Tong early, the Type 03 will wreak havoc on their ships as its maneuverability becomes more and more of an asset as the game progresses and formations slowly break apart. From the start, you should be looking to engage your opponent early with your very punchy build. Preferably, your Type 03 will come in at an angle so that you can pick a red turn to keep your options open, or rush in with a large straight so that you can make use of the 180-degree turn of your 4 come about or the full about from Skilled Helmsman. Your intention should be to scrum it up with your opponent and maneuver to positions with multiple ways to keep your arc on target. The full about maneuver will allow you to switch from your turns or come about to the degree that every angle from your ship can be targeted by your ship if you pick the right maneuver and aren't going to bump. Additionally, you do not have to keep the direction of the turn when placing the full about template, granting you even more maneuver options and possible flanking angles. Overall, Skilled Helmsman is a great maneuverability resource and gives you a ton of options when playing on the board, effectively tripling your choice of maneuvers when styles are set. However, it's also aptly named since it will take a skilled player to use it effectively when building and piloting their fleet. The opponent knows which ship has the full about template at their disposal, allowing them to plan around the maneuver, so manipulating your maneuvers to account for your opponent's predictions will be key to utilizing Skilled Helmsman effectively. Even if you never use the full about template, you still used the threat of it to fool your opponent into bad maneuvers, and if you're not changing your maneuver, chances are you chose a good one to begin with. Thank you all for following along with this new series. Everything is still in flux as I work the kinks out of the format, so please don't hesitate to give me feedback and recommendations on how you'd like this series presented, or to request resources you'd like to see used effectively. As a slight spoiler for the next episode, I'll be covering a resource that's still in tournament rotation, so that should be even more helpful to you guys. Thanks for watching and have a great day, everybody.